Since light is the basis of every photo, it would seem wise to learn something about it. Learn to use light effectively, and you will soon go from recording snapshots to creating photographs. No one topic of study in photography will advance your skills more than learning to see light. One of the most important steps you can take to becoming a better photographer is learning to see the light. And you are about to discover that this is one topic you can learn both with and without your camera. Look around you right now. Look at the light that is illuminating everything that you can see. It's easy to see the objects that the light is making visible, but get past the object and focus only on the light itself. This is about training your eye and brain to become more aware of light and its behavior as it illuminates various subjects. Start with the highlights, the lightest areas on the objects. Notice how the highlights appear on shiny objects, on glass, on light objects, and on dark objects. The car on your screen right now has several different types of surfaces, from shiny chrome to black rubber. Look at how the light behaves on the different surfaces. Notice where on the object the brightest highlights appear and how they go from light to dark. Does the highlight end sharply, or does it gradually blend into darker tones? How does the highlight change as you move the object around or as you move around the object? And then I want you to notice the shadows. Not just the shadow cast by the object, but also those dark areas on the object itself where the light begins to fall off. Are the shadows sharply defined, or is the transition from light to dark gradual? What direction is the light coming from? Does it come from a single direct source, such as the sun or a lamp? Or is it indirect, soft light coming from a large area, reflected from light walls or diffused by clouds or an overcast sky? The shadows can tell you a lot about the light, such as the type of light that it is, its direction, and how intense or contrasty the light is. Between the highlights and the shadows are what we call the midtones. These tones will vary from very few in a contrasty light to a great many in soft light. A well-balanced photo, light-wise at least, will have a few light tones, a few dark tones, and lots of midtones. Other times, however, your subject may be made up mostly of light tones or colors with few middle or dark tones. And some subjects may be mostly darker tones with very few light areas. As you become more adept at seeing light, you'll start to see how much light can influence your images. Both the quality and the direction of the light can have a profound effect on the subjects that you photograph. Take some time to study the light around you. Observe the way that light affects different objects and different surfaces. Become aware of how the light changes on the object as you go from the lightest to darkest areas. Also, when you find photos you like, notice the lighting on those images. All of this will help to train your eye and mind, and soon you'll begin to use light effectively, often without even realizing it. You'll just know that the light is right. When talking about the quality of light in photography, we often use terms such as hard or direct light and soft or diffused light. Hard light comes from a single spot or source point, and it's very directional. The sun is a really good example of a hard light. The light from an on-camera flash is another really good example. Soft light is very diffused light and multi-directional. Overcast and cloudy days are common examples of this type of light. Open shade is another example. Because hard light is very directional, you get very sharp, well-defined shadows. On the flower on the screen right now, which was shot in direct sunlight, you can see the sharp, distinct shadows that each petal casts. Notice also how the light and dark areas are sharply defined with no midtones separating them. Soft light will illuminate objects very evenly and produce very soft, subtle shadows, or sometimes no shadows at all. The flower now on your screen is the same exact flower as before, but shot in open shade. Note the subtle shadows that each petal casts, and note the fine detail in the middle of the flower. You may also have noticed that the green leaves in the background are not lost in blackness as they were in the first photo. This is due to the difference in brightness range. Within these two broad categories of light quality, there's a wide range of subtle variations. There can be a combination of both hard and soft light, direct but diffused light, light bouncing off highly reflective objects. The more you study the light, the more sensitive you'll become to its many different qualities. This photo of a boat on the beach is an interesting study of how light behaves differently on different parts of a subject. Where the sunlight strikes the hull, it helps define the texture of the hull. The sand also reflects into the brown part of the lower hull, helping keep it from being lost in deep shadow. On the deck, the dark cabin wood goes nearly black in the shadows, which is one of the problems that you can have with the hard quality of sunlight. Here in this photo, however, it doesn't matter since the deck shadows are not important to this image.